Hello, Rooted Wings community. Happy beginning of the week. I am going to bring on a few guests today for our afternoon live, and I'm calling this our Heroes Live. I am probably the most excited I have been about today's live with the guests that are coming on. I have a firefighter who is joining us from his last shift in Washington. I have an ER tech from San Diego, and then I have a brilliant CEO gubernatorial candidate from California who I supported during the recall and who has dreamt up just an amazing campaign that is anti-discrimination and for our heroes. So I'm going to bring them on right now, and give me one quick moment as they get adjusted on here.
Hi.
Hey, you guys.
Hey.
Thank you so much for joining. I'm just going to grab Anthony real quick, and then all three of us will be here together. So let me grab him. Okay. He should be joining us any second. All right. All four of us are
Hey.
here. Hey, Anthony.
Hey, guys.
Bree,
How's it going?
Tyler,
Hey.
Anthony. Hey, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining. I know it's in the middle of the day, but I am just so thankful for each of you. And I think that each of your stories deserves to be heard. So that's why we're doing what we are doing. And first of all, I just want to acknowledge Tyler. This is Tyler's last shift after 10 years as a firefighter in Washington State. And it's definitely a hard day for Tyler out there. So Tyler, I know that because it's your last shift, you may be called during this live. So I just wanted to give you the chance first to kind of open up the floor. I wanted you to share just a little bit about who you are and how you ended up where you are today.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's been quite a day. I never thought that this time would come. But so I'm Tyler Griffith, born and raised in Washington State. This career is something I've always wanted since a young child. And as soon as I turned 18, I jumped at every opportunity I could to get to where I'm at today. I started out as a resident firefighter at 18, surrounded by a whole bunch of other 18-year-olds that didn't know what life was about or where we were going to go. I went through my first fire academy there, and it was there where I learned that this is what I wanted to do, and it truly is the best job in the world. As time went on, I worked multiple fire departments. In Washington State, I've worked at 6 different fire departments as a part-time, as a volunteer, and it was a grind. This profession isn't something that's just handed to someone. It takes a special kind of human to do this. There's a lot of strong men and women out there that I think can agree to that. This is something that isn't given, it's earned. And after testing and being a firefighter for 5 years, not career, I finally landed my dream job with Bothell Fire Department. It's filled with some of the most incredible individuals that you'll ever meet. The fire service is just filled with brothers and sisters that at a drop of a hat would be there for you. I've been here for 5 years, and the relationships I've built here are second to none. It's really the best job in the world. And I posted that post that I'm sure a lot of people have seen, and I was reaching out to my extended family I never really see, or friends that haven't heard from me for a while. The amount of love and support that I received from that little post it blew my mind. I'm unbelievably grateful. I don't think anyone will ever stand that. The post wasn't meant to be about me necessarily, but I ain't the only one that's going through this right now. There's a lot of other firefighters, first responders, cops, nurses, and we're all feeling this, and it's hitting really hard. driving in today, I was able to think about what I've done in my life to get to where I'm at. And I tell you, without a loving, supporting family or supportive wife or anything like that, I wouldn't be here today. And this fight that we're all fighting together, it's a fight that's worth having. Because if we don't stand up and fight for what we believe in now, there's going to be more to come. And been on shift now since 8 o'clock this morning. And man, I tell you, it's been a lot of tears shed and a lot of hugs and goodbyes from other guys around the fire station. And it's hitting hard. Everyone that's going through this right now, just know that you're not alone. There's a massive amount of support and love for all of us. I've received hundreds and hundreds of messages of stories, and it's just heartbreaking because we're not the only ones. We're all in this together, and we got to do what's right. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of what led me here today. I apologize if kind of scratchy, but I've never done anything like this, and it's just a whirlwind emotional day. So.
Well, we all feel that emotion on, at different levels because we're watching from the outside and you are living it. You are bearing this new form of just ugly discrimination that is running rampant across our country. And I want to tell you how sorry I am that our culture has come to this point. It confuses me, and I know Anthony's going to speak to this because of what his project is aiming to do. But it confuses me how we can forget history and come to this place that we're at now where we are hurting our brothers and sisters in this country and pretending that it's okay. It's not okay. And I am so sorry that you're bearing the brunt of this and that your family is bearing the brunt of this. It's wrong, and you shouldn't be in the place that you're being put in. And my hope in doing these lives is that it will wake people up who maybe have been quiet, who are watching as bystanders and who aren't actively engaged, and that they will step in and start using their voice to speak against this, because it is so wrong. And we're going to look back on this, and there's so much shame in what's happening right now. But you're living it right now. You're breathing it right now. And I'm so sorry, Tyler. You don't deserve this.
Thank you for the kind words. It's all of us in the first responders and healthcare really appreciate that. Mm-hmm. More than thankful.
I just thank you for coming on. I'll circle back again to some more questions in a minute with you. If you do get a call and you have to leave, then by all means, feel free to jump off. But
okay.
I did have one question. I guess I'll ask you right now, just in case we do lose you if you have to run a call. But what was it for you? Because you have been on the front lines throughout all of this and for the last decade. What was it that made you decide that you were not going to walk lockstep with everything happening, or that you weren't going to bend? Why did you choose to stiffen your spine and to stand up and say no?
For our next generation. This isn't about me. This is about something bigger than that. If me personally, I cave in to these mandates and being forced to do something that I don't want against my will, it shows my kids that it's acceptable. And if I would have caved in, they would think that that's okay, and it's not. I want to be that strength and guidance for my children and other people, and maybe individuals that don't necessarily have a voice or a strength, but have the same beliefs. I want the people that not necessarily have the voice. I'll be that voice for you. I'll do the fighting. I'll do the standing up. I'll take the punches for you so you don't have to. That's what I was taught, and that's how I was raised and brought up. I have an incredible family. My dad's a strong, man who taught me some great values in life. And what's going on right now goes against everything I stand for.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the exact reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm sure many others are. I'm not going to take this. These are unacceptable mandates, and they're trying to push this upon us right now, and our kids are next. And they're gonna keep taking. And the longer we as a country let them do that, the worse it's gonna get. We're fighting for our future. If everyone just caved over and did what we're told now, what's next? Everyone has a line, and some people's lines aren't crossed yet, but they will be if we don't fight this fight now.
Oh, you're such a hero, Tyler. You're such a hero. And I think about your profession is a heroic profession, but even in this last day on your last shift, you're still thinking of others more than you are yourself. You are the definition of an American hero, and you deserve to be treated as a hero. And I believe in redemption. I believe that the story is not finished being written and that you will have redemption. But I am just, I'm so impressed with you. We need more like you. And I pray judgment on those who are doing this to you, because it's so wrong and it's not right. But thank you for sharing your story and being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm grateful for being able to be here. And there's a lot of others like me. There's thousands of us, but we just need a little bit more love.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be able to get more people to jump on board with us to keep fighting this fight, because we can't do it alone.
That's right. That's right. And that's a great chance to bring in Anthony Tremino. Anthony, you and I have become friends over the past year, and I really appreciate what you have done in just this madness that we have found ourselves in. And we have been seeing the stories. We're both kind of outsiders, right? We're not on the front line like Tyler and like Bree are, but we've been seeing these stories come in. And I know you and I have been in constant conversation about just how wrecked we've been by stories like Tyler's, stories like Bree throughout our country. You decided to do something about it. Can you share, kind of walk us through why you decided to do what you've done, and then give us your vision on your Heroes Project?
Sure. Well, hi, Bree and Tyler. Thank you for your story. You guys are the reason why I'm doing this, why we're doing it. As I spoke up and down the state, I met many people like you that are in situations like yours that are just heartbroken. They're about to lose their livelihood. They're ostracized. They're about to be removed from their careers that they're passionate about. We live in a society where, last year we were holding you guys up as heroes, and today society is calling you a menace to society, right? The hypocrisy is just unbearable. And so, Bree and I, we speak, we stand up for medical freedom and the ability for people to choose. And it's not about being for the vax or anti-vax. It's literally about just standing up as Americans and exercising our right to choose what's best for our family, right? And, going up and down the state speaking, I just started to get increasingly more frustrated that we needed to do more. This is a very unconventional war that we're fighting. And so we have to fight in unconventional ways. And so being creative, I started to just search to find ways that I can use talents and resources that I have access to in innovative ways. And I think what the tipping point for me was in my particular industry, in the ad industry, there was this huge story that went around a couple of weeks ago. This ad agency had basically, to promote, getting the vaccine, basically wrapped an entire truck and put it in front of an MLB baseball game where thousands of people were walking by, including children. And the ad was for a fake mortuary. And it basically said, Johnson and Sons mortuary, please don't get the vaccine. It's good for business. And basically insinuating if you don't get it, you're going to die. It's good for business. And that's the message that they were promoting. And that got picked up by every major publication in my industry and tout it as incredibly creative and innovative way of getting that message across. And that infuriated me. So I picked up the phone and I called my team on a Saturday and said, enough is enough. We're going to use every creative resource we have to combat this in an innovative way. So I need you guys to figure out a way that we're going to be the voice of the other side of this coin, where we're going to tell the stories of our heroes. We're going to shed light on the inconvenient truth and tell this story in a way that is thought-provoking and incredibly disruptive. So on Monday we met, which is just 2 weeks ago, we met and all kinds of ideas were pitched. Many of them we're still going to execute on after this. But the one that surfaced was really the idea that there are these two ad campaigns that everyone knows. It's the Nike Stand for Something and the Dove Courage is Beautiful. Those two ad campaigns are the most recognized ad campaigns of recent history. They both won Grand Prix awards. So, and the Dove campaign in particular was one of the most influential ads of 2020. So they basically highlighted nurses that were working in the ICU, calling them heroes and talking about how their courage was beautiful. So we wanted to flip the script and say, isn't courage still beautiful, even if it chooses to be unvaccinated? So we had this idea. We immediately put the word out there for some courageous people to step up, participate. Bree was one of them. We gathered a few together and we basically wanted to highlight their story, tell their story in a unique way and get people to, and challenge people, big corporations like Dove and Nike, government entities, and just society at large. Hey, if you thought this thing was beautiful, is it not still beautiful? Aren't these people still heroes? So we brought them in, did some, what I believe to be some beautiful photography, raw, authentic, just real. And we decided to launch the campaign a week later, which was this Sunday. So I wanted to do it big because that's how I like to do everything. So we basically took ads out in the 4 major publications, newspapers across California. So the San Diego Union, Tribune, the OC Register, the LA Times, and the San Francisco Chronicle. We called them up, told them what we wanted to do, signed the contracts, and paid for the ads. Submitted the ads, and we didn't hear anything from OC Register and San Francisco Chronicle, so obviously they fulfilled our request. Late Friday night, we got an email from our rep at the LA Times. LA Times also owns the San Diego Union Tribune, and they basically said they were killing our ads. They were pulling them, and they didn't give us any reason as to why. So obviously on Saturday, we just started to inundate them with calls and requests for a formal response as to why our ads were being pulled. You got to understand, these are publications that run, over the years, have run ads for pretty much every industry, tobacco, alcohol, porn, you name it. They've run ads for any number of companies, entities, and so when I think about the fact that we're running an anti-discrimination ad in support of our frontline heroes, it's not provocative. It's definitely not political. It's just highlighting these real life stories and offering support through a website organization that we started.
And I think it's important to note that it was not an anti-injection campaign.
No, not at all.
It had nothing to do with that. This was showcasing our frontline heroes like Tyler and like Bree and thousands of others who have been up against these mandates and have been coerced by, you get it, jab or job. And that was essentially what you were running on, is this is discriminatory and here are the actual people being affected by this. But it was not taking a political stance of the injection is good or the injection is bad. Absolutely not.
We didn't even, these ads had very minimal copy. It just had the headline, courage is still beautiful, even if unvaccinated. Had the name of the individual we were highlighting and just a sentence about their story, and then obviously led people to the website. So the entire day on Saturday, we spent contacting our representatives as well as the VPs within the Los Angeles Times. I finally got a hold of someone, spoke to him on the phone, and he basically said, look, we have the right to kill any ads with or without cause. I said, okay, I understand that. That's your formal right to do that. But we want a very specific reason as to why our ads were killed. What process did you go through for approval? Who declined to run the ads? What individual was responsible for making the decision? And then kind of how they came to the conclusion that the ads should not be run. And we have yet to receive a formal response. We're going to continue to fight, and we'll be posting information later on so that you guys can get in this fight, because we need more voices. We need to understand why they killed the ads, why they chose not to run the ads, why they would not want to side with something that is, it's quite literally an anti-discrimination campaign at its purest form. So we didn't run in those two publications, but yesterday, OC Register and San Francisco Chronicle did run the ads. We've had an amazing amount of just response. The website was inundated. The Instagram page that we set up, it continues to just increase in numbers and following. But the whole point of this is this. We're trying to bring the inconvenient truth public. We want it to be a national awareness PSA, basically serving to be the voice of what's happening. So many of your stories they're being circulated on Instagram, but we're creating these echo chambers where, you know, those of us who are involved intimately, we know what's going on and we hear your stories and we're advocating for you. But the general public, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily understand the impact that these decisions are having. So making the vaccines a mandate and a condition of employment is technically illegal. It shouldn't be allowed. And what's happening is it not only is it impacting your guys' livelihood, your families, but what the public doesn't realize is if we lose our nurses and our teachers and our firefighters and our police and our military, we don't have a better society. We have a society that's worse off. And this is only the beginning of, you know, the slow fade of our rights and liberties as Americans. So these stories need to be told. They need to be told publicly. They need to be told in a disruptive manner. They need to be told nationally, if not globally. And so this campaign was created for the purpose of being the voice for all of you guys to come share your stories. People can post, people can submit their pictures, their stories. And we've already, me personally, I've already invested close to $100,000 just in the media placement alone, because I wholeheartedly believe in what we're doing. I believe that we're, you know, I've often said, God doesn't hold us accountable for the things we're unaware of, but he does hold us accountable for the things that we have been exposed to. And I've been exposed to this problem, and I can't just turn the other cheek. I have to do something about it. I have to put my time, money, resources, creativity behind it. And I'm hoping that this is just the beginning of a movement that will be far bigger than I can even fathom, I can imagine, that's bigger than me, bigger than the campaign itself, that brings the awareness that's needed to really, what's the end result? We want to bring the inconvenient truth to people so that they understand what's happening, but more so, you know, we want people to understand that if we all band together, that if we all get frustrated enough, get angry enough, and we funnel our righteous anger together, we can actually change this. And while we were working on this campaign last week, that's when the pilots started to stand up. They started to walk out on their jobs, and we saw what impact that had on the airline industry. And so we're hoping that this will build momentum, get tons of people involved behind it, to not just talk about it and share it, but to actually do something meaningful behind it. And so, like I said, yesterday the campaign launched. Today is just day one. Where it goes from here is going to depend on all of you guys, what you do with it, how much you share, how you get involved, how you contribute. I hope that it serves as a jumping off point for something bigger than I can even imagine. And that's why we created it.
Yeah, I'm so thankful for what you're doing, Anthony, and that you realize that this is a need. And like you said, there needs to be a disruption. And I think it's fair to acknowledge that a lot of this has become echo chambers where you feel like you've woken up all the lions that you can in our spheres of influence. So it's time to get creative, because there are still so many who need to step in and to speak out against what is happening. And that takes creativity. I told you earlier this week that I really believe that creative art is going to have such a massive play in this. And I think that when you see propaganda pieces from Nazi Germany and from even during the Spanish flu, and you can keep going back, art plays such a massive role in propaganda. So if we can beat them at their own game in creating art to disrupt that, then we've done something right. And that's essentially what you're doing with this campaign, is you are making these gritty images that force people to see the human side of this and what we're actually doing to people, instead of it just being numbers of people being let go. We're actually looking into eyes of humans and seeing what this is causing. And I think that that's how we win, is by getting creative and refusing to kind of just think, well, we've said all we can say, we've done all we can do, and the wrecking ball is still going full speed. So what is there? There's always something left that we can do. And it's for people like Tyler and for people like Bree that we have to get creative at this point. And that's what you're doing. And you're doing it with your own resources, to get this thing moving and changing where we're at now. So I thank you for what you're doing. Bree, my screen is frozen, so I can't see you, but can you see us?
Yeah, I can see you guys.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. I want you to share your story of how you ended up in kind of alongside Anthony, and then you also you are one of the faces of this campaign that was picked up by the San Francisco Chronicle and the Orange County Register. I wanted you to share how you got to this place, being a frontline hero for 10 years, and then where you are now in San Diego as an ER tech who is on, well, I'll let you say where you're at now.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So I'm an emergency room tech, like you said. I've been working throughout the pandemic and before, of course, in the ER for several years. And I think, I don't know that there was like a defining moment where I was like, oh, I'm not going to comply and be injected. But it was a choice initially, and then it just kept being pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And at one point, they were actually walking around my emergency room with a Pfizer vial. So that was very weird. And I just kind of knew immediately, I'm not doing that. Mm-hmm. I didn't think too much about it. I was just like, that's not my jam. I'm not doing it. And then it obviously became a mandate, as everybody knows. And I just knew I wasn't going to do it. So I think that the courage piece for me was not making the decision to not do it. I just knew in my heart it was not for me. It was not for my family. But I do have a family. I have a 7-year-old son. I'm currently on unpaid administrative leave, facing termination on November 1st. I had actually tested positive for COVID, oddly enough, contracted it through my job in the emergency room, under workers' comp and everything, but have not been granted, I guess, natural immunity, if you will. And ironically enough, also, I am ineligible to receive it, even if I did want to comply, which I don't, but I can't anyways. So I'm looking to be terminated, and it's been a lot of praying and stuff. But I'm just really excited, I think, just to go off of what Anthony has said. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited to get out of, Instagram and these echo chambers and share our stories with other people that might not necessarily know, and put a face to the numbers, like you guys said, and just really spread awareness that it is just about choice. It's about freedom. This is our line. We're holding it. It's not okay.
No, it's not okay. It's not okay. And I'm thankful that you are brave and that you are speaking, that you're using your voice and your experience to not just kind of hide away, but you are actively speaking out. And I just have to say, your Instagram page, for what it's worth, is amazing. You find ways to communicate with humor, which in this situation, I'm not a very humorous person. I'm pretty, stern, but you create these posts that I think kind of put cracks in the matrix, because you make people laugh, but then you realize you shouldn't be laughing because it's serious. And this, I think that's how we win, right? That's what I'm talking about. It's the ways that you create those cracks that are unexpected, like Anthony's full page spreads. That's unexpected. The way that you use humor to show the darkness of what's happening right now, that's a crack in the matrix. Tyler, you created that amazing post that went viral. That was a crack in the matrix. People didn't see that coming. And that's how I think we win. It's by being creative and using the gifts and talents we have to crack it, to crack the matrix. I had a question for you, Bree. You were on the front lines all of last year. How did what you saw, what you experienced, how did that inform your position on standing for freedom in light of the threat of this virus?
Wow, what a loaded question. I would say that there were times where the news was telling us a lot about what was going on, and then when I would go to work, it was not that. So I feel just like mainstream media was like, this is so bad, this is so bad. I'll be really transparent. I've said it before, like last summer, for example, when there was a surge and the community was really rallying behind us all and supporting us and bringing us food and making us masks and just really loving on us and being appreciative of the things that we did. There was a point during that time where there was nobody in the emergency room. So I think that's when I really started questioning what is actually going on. You know, I can come home and read the news and see, oh, it's all crazy and all this, that, and the other. And, you know, people are dying and the emergency rooms are full and stuff. And then I knew my real life experience. And so things just didn't really line up for me. And so I think that's when I was really questioning the narrative. But the flip side of that is there were many days where it was very busy, but it wasn't as consistent as the media was making it seem. I mean, even my friends and family are like, oh, is this what's happening? You know, are you okay? And I was always okay, but it wasn't, I guess, what was being portrayed on the media, you know? And so my experience just didn't really line up with that.
Yeah, and that definitely makes you question, you know, what is being perpetrated and what we're supposed to all believe. And then the risk-benefit ratio comes into play with, you know, what you are seeing and what you're being told to see. What about you, Tyler? Did that affect what you were seeing out in Washington on the front lines as a firefighter? Did that play into your decision to stand for freedom?
Yeah, I'd say it would. I would kind of echo what she just said, is there was a point in time where we were heroes to the community. We had people coming in to the fire stations and bringing us massive amounts of food, wanting to take pictures with us so that they could post it on, you know, their restaurant's Facebook or Instagram. And then it essentially went quiet. There's no one around. The fire stations were no longer a place where families could go to visit and hang out. And that's a big part of this job, is our community interaction. And it was a ghost town around here. Calls kind of died down. We weren't running a whole lot of calls because people were scared to go to the hospital. On our end up here in Washington, people, you know, you would go on a call and we'd be like, hey, you kind of need to go. They'd be like, well, I'm scared to go. And so there were times to where people stopped calling. We were pretty slow. And then there were times we got really busy. And the way that Washington and the media portrayed that is kind of like the ends here. And it was complete opposite at times. I'm not saying it wasn't bad ever at one point or another, but there were times to where it wasn't exactly what the media was saying.
Well, I think that if you're a critical thinker, that's going to make you question what, you know, it's going to make you question things. And then as free Americans, we want to have the control to make the decision that is best for us and our families based on what we see and what we know. And I think that's the conflict, right? Is that we've seen things, we've questioned things, and now we're being told that based on stratified risk, you have to do this or you're out of a job. For both of you, you're out of a firefighting job, you're out of an ER tech job, when just a year ago, you were the ones that weren't set home when we had essential and non-essential. You were the ones that had to stay doing what you were doing because you were that essential to society. But now we're going to just toss you out because You didn't do what you were told to do, which is not, it's not American. That's as un-American and very dangerous as it can be. Bree and Tyler, I had one more question for both of you, and then I'll kind of start to wrap this up. But I just wanted to get your impression on, is this sustainable, what's happening right now? Is what we're seeing, what we're living through right now, all these mandates are going across the country, are going to be in effect very shortly. I think pretty much by December is when everything's going to hit full speed. Is what we're seeing right now start? Is there any sustainability in this? Can this, or what are your thoughts? What's your take?
My thoughts are, here in Washington, today's kind of the last day. Tomorrow, a lot of the Washington State Patrol firefighters, they're all going to be gone. Where I work in the neighboring departments, some places have 17 to 20 people that will no longer be on the line. And that's just one department. Seattle's got over 100, I've heard. And we rely heavily on each other for support. And I think with all these firefighters and EMTs getting off the line, I personally think it's going to be detrimental. It's not doing, we're not providing the best service we could to our communities, or even providing any that they deserve. So by that happening, I think it's going to be a huge impact, and it's not good for anyone. And anyone that thinks this is a good thing, I think you're wrong, because this is an awful thing that we're doing for our first responders, and in turn, the community is going to suffer from these consequences.
Amen. I absolutely agree. What about you, Bree? What are your thoughts down in San Diego? What you're seeing starting? We just let go of a lot of Rady's Children's Hospital healthcare workers just a few weeks ago, and the mandates are starting to hit up and down the state now. What is your thought on whether or not this is sustainable and the implications on the community?
Yes. So, I mean, like he said, I think it definitely isn't. It's going to hurt the community more than I think people know. I mean, the narrative really is that we're short-staffed in the hospitals, and now we are, and it's just short-staffed. We have beds, but we're short-staffed. I am locked out of my hospital, but I still, oddly enough, get the text messages saying, hey, you want to come into work? You know, here's extra pay. Here's some financial incentives to come into work. So I see that directly, even though I'm not even there. And so I think, you know, if they're seeing it on the firefighter side, we're seeing it in the hospitals, police, a lot of people are taking a stand. And so we're not there to serve the community that we want to serve. And so whether you're affected by it right now, you know, if you call 911, or if you go into the emergency room or whatever it may be, I think that the time is coming where every single person is going to feel it. I don't want that to happen. But it's not sustainable by any means. We want to help the community. We love the community. We want to help people, and we just aren't given the chance to. And even if people disagree with our stance, they're going to feel it. They're going to feel our absence.
Well, it's about time that our politicians start speaking, is where I'm at with this, because I don't know how we have elected servants who are supposed to be for the safety of the community absolutely cricket silent on this issue. It is mind-boggling, and I hope people start remembering the names of the politicians who are not speaking and who are coming up for term and re-election, because what's happening right now in the silence in our legislatures all the way up is inexcusable. Anthony, where do we go from here with your Heroes Project? What are the next steps? How can people get involved? How can they support what you are doing and support our frontliners like these two that we have on right now, Tyler and Bree, and thousands of others across our country?
Yeah, so you guys need to start getting active. We need to start sharing. This needs to go viral. We can't control the media, but we're going to find innovative ways to get the message out there. That's why we were doing paid advertising, which is something that a movement like this doesn't usually do, doesn't have the resources to do, creativity to do. So we're going to get really innovative in getting our message out there, but it's going to take everyone. It's going to take everyone getting this, sharing it, making it viral, talking about it. We've been inundated. We've gotten thousands of stories over the last week, I'd say maybe 3-4 days, of people just like you two that are sending their pictures in, their stories in. We're going to be posting them on a daily basis, definitely a weekly basis, as we compile that. So we need more stories from people all over the nation military, law enforcement. People keep asking, you know, why didn't we highlight law enforcement and military? Just so you guys know, that was the first place we went. I know I have a lot of friends and even family in law enforcement, and we just didn't get in time enough people to stand up and say, hey, I want to go public with my story. Many different reasons, and they're all personal. Hopefully some people in law enforcement and the military will also come forward and say, hey, I want to speak, I want to get involved, I want to share my story. And we will shoot them, and we will post them and highlight them, because we believe that they have an incredible story to tell as well. So we need more people across the nation. We need people to get active, involved, share their stories with us, repost, share, like, get the word out there. We need to be disruptive. That's what's going to draw the attention that we need, is to kick up enough dirt. We need to challenge people like the VPs at the LA Times that didn't run our ads. We cannot let up. We have to inundate them, bombard them with questions, calls, emails, etc. Tomorrow morning, we're launching a major PR campaign to get this message out in front of all the major media outlets. We're going to see who picks it up and who doesn't. And so we're going to continue to move this forward. But I want to, you guys won't say this because it's probably not in your nature, and the people that you work with are probably friends. They're definitely peers and colleagues, but let's be clear about something. The people that are walking you out, the people that are emailing you or hand delivering formal documents to you guys stating that you're going to be terminated or laid off, their hands are dirty. Their hands have blood on them. And I want to say that the people that you work with as well, your peers that are not standing up with you, that are not walking out with you, they have blood on their hands too. And when I think about firefighters, police officers, nurses, you guys are a community within a community. You guys form sisterhoods and brotherhoods. You guys run in the fires together. You guys, draw weapons together. You guys go fight, wars together. You guys are in the ER together. I cannot believe the amount of stories that we get where your peers and colleagues are kind of just wiping their hands with the situation. They don't want to get involved. They're fearful of what it'll cost them. And I think that's a problem that we need to address. We need your colleagues, your peers, the people that you've been on the front lines with, to stand up with you, to say, hey, this is not right. This is not fair. It's not just. It's not American. And I'm going to get in this with you. Because if you think about the power of, your industries, if you were to just come together and decide, hey, we're going to stand together, we're going to walk out together, you would implode your entire industries. Like, there's no way on earth the government would allow that to happen. But we're not using our leverage. And what's going to happen is, Bree, you mentioned that, there's about a month left until a lot of these mandates come into effect. We can't wait until they come into effect to do something about it. We have to leverage now. We have to pull together now. We have to leverage the power of unity now to stand up, to walk out, to say enough is enough, so that they can feel the pain and the pinch. We're giving them too much time to plan. Mm-hmm. We're giving them too much time to implement plan B, plan C, to bring in private entities to take your guys' place. We need the element of surprise. We need to act quickly. We need to be disruptive. So I would encourage your peers to step up, have some courage, stand with you. We need leadership to get all of these small little battles organized so that we can speak with one voice. That's some of the things we can do. But as far as I'm concerned, we're going to continue to post stories. We're going to continue to put money, resources, time, and energy, creativity behind this. We have a video launching today that kind of highlights, the campaign itself. Again, it's a springboard. We're going to get innovative with creativity and do a ton of things. Experiential, we'll do pop-ups. We're not going to announce a lot of it until we've already done it, because we don't want it to get shut down. But Rooted Out Wings and Bree will be a great source to kind of stay abreast of what we're doing. And then follow us. So, We Are Still Heroes is our handle on Instagram, and wearestillheroes.org is where you can go, tell your story, fill out the form so we can stay in contact with you. But this is just the beginning. We've come too far, and there's too much at stake to back down now. And I hope that this disruption is just the beginning of all kinds of movements in all kinds of different industries and all kinds of different ways to push back and to protect our freedoms and our liberties that are clearly under attack right now. So we're going to keep moving, and we'll keep posting about what we're doing, and hopefully enough people get involved. But you have to get involved. We can't just talk about it. We can't just be the shield anymore. We have to be the sword.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what you just said nailed it. We can't just be the shield anymore. We have to be the sword. It's time. Mm-hmm. Tyler, I can't believe you made it without getting that last call. Just once again, Tyler, I'm going to close you out first because I know that you're going to get that call's got to come in any second. But I just want to again let you know that you have, even though it might seem so isolating right now, what you're walking through, there are thousands fighting with you and for you. Anthony is doing a killer job out here in California, and I know that there are more people who are just now brainstorming ways to fight back, and that's what it's going to take. You are not alone. You are our hero, and we stand so proudly with you. I wanted you to just have kind of your last word to strengthen some spines. What would you say to anyone listening who just maybe feels a little bit weak, doesn't know what they're going to do with any mandates that they are up against, or maybe is a colleague who hasn't stepped in like what Anthony was saying, and they've just been kind of silent and complicit in all of this? What would you say as a firefighter, as a man, as a father, as a husband to strengthen spines right now?
That's a really good question. I think my best advice to someone that could use some strength right now is to have some courage. Look at an individual as a human, not as a job title, not as a rank. No matter where you stand, everyone has a family. I have 2 kids. A lot of people have children. And this is a selfless act here. We got to take care of each other. And if you feel alone and you're scared to do this, you're far from it. There's thousands of us. Call me, text me, message me, do whatever you need. I'll be that person for you. We have to do this together. There's no need to be afraid right now because we're going to win. We're going to be victorious, and it's going to be a fight. It's not going to be easy. But there's a lot of strong men and women out there that are willing to stand with you and for you. And if you've ever considered if now's the time to stand up, it was a week ago. Stand up today. Let's do this together. I'm here for you along with thousands of others. And who cares what everyone else says? Do what's right. Just be a good human and do the right thing.
Amen. That's right. How can people follow you? And is there any way, I'm seeing a lot of comments coming up asking how people can support you specifically, Tyler. Do you have any sort of way for people to support you, and how can people follow you?
So you could just follow my Instagram. Lately I've been posting a lot. I've been sharing a lot of stories of people I know that are losing their jobs. I think the best support is just getting the word out there, not only on social media, but tell your friends, tell your family, tell stories. Man, I tell you, I thought I was a strong man. I've heard some pretty incredible people out there sharing their stories that aren't necessarily as blessed and lucky as me. And just let's be there for each other. You can follow me along. I mean, today's my last day. There's not much more after that than the fight that continues after. So I can come back, hopefully. And that's about it for that.
No, thank you so much, Tyler, for taking the time on your last day as a firefighter out in Washington. Your story is not finished being written, and we're going to continue to follow you until you have reclaimed your rightful position as a firefighter out there. I believe in redemption, and the only way you're making me emotional just looking at you. But the only way to redemption is through a fight. So if we want to see redemption won, we're going to have to, like Anthony said, be the sword at this point and not just the shield. So we're going to stay in touch with you throughout the rest of this journey, and we're going to see it all won back home. We're going to see we're gonna see you back restored back. So it's just your last day, just for a little bit, and we're gonna keep
Just a little
fighting.
bit.
Yeah, we're gonna keep fighting really hard for you. Give your babies hugs and your wife too for me, and tell them thank you so much for standing with you. You're a good man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Bree, I wanted to give you just a spotlight for some last words as people are looking for encouragement. You are so encouraging through all of this. What would you say to people who might feel overwhelmed and struggling with everything going on and might not know how to step in and how to be the shield, how to be the sword, how to fight back? What encouragement do you have for people right now?
I think it's just kind of simple. Just don't overcomplicate it. It's about a choice. I think it's very easy to see that we all are entitled to a choice. Don't think about all of the other things that are the chaos in the world on the TV, if you will. Just stand up, like now's the time. Don't talk about it, be about it, and support us. Our community, I believe, is growing exponentially every single day. So we're, of course, not alone, but there's always somebody. They can reach out to me, if they're watching. They already are kind of in touch. So I think that's it. Don't overcomplicate something that really should be fairly simple.
Mm-hmm. It is pretty simple. At the end of the day, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
And I think you're right, though. We've lost our way because there's been so many words, right? And so much mixed meaning. And because of that, people get confused, and it's not confusing. It is very simple. It's about freedom. It's about being an American. It's about medical freedom. And that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. And we should all be able to stand for that. That is very simple. How can people follow you, Bree? How can they support you?
I just love engaging with people. So on my Instagram is spiced_Brie_latte. And that's it. Just on my Instagram. I really enjoy conversations like this and helping people. I have people reach out to me all the time. I help people even with religious exemptions or what should I do, or I'm in this state. So that's kind of how I serve people, but come to my page.
Awesome. And then Tyler, I don't know if you said your handle out loud. What is your Instagram handle?
Oh, let me look. I don't even know. _Tyler.Griffith_.
Awesome. Okay, Anthony Tremino, take us home. Give us some final words of encouragement on this heroes project of yours, and just kind of light a fire underneath people as we close this out.
Yeah, so get involved. Look, to just people in general, when you pick up the phone and you call 911 and you need somebody to show up to your house, you're not going to care about their vaccination status. When you need the police, when you need the fire department, when you show up in the ER, when you need somebody to fight battles for our country abroad, you don't care about their vaccination status. These are very personal decisions. These are individuals who have sworn an oath, taken an oath to protect you, not to harm you. And so we need to give them, we need to allow them to operate with the freedom of every American to choose what's best for them. It shouldn't be mandated by a place of employment or our government. This is America, and we need to act as Americans. We need to show grace and compassion and allow these individuals to choose what's best for them. And like I said, when you need these heroes most, you're not going to ask, you're not going to care about their vaccination status. And to the politicians that you mentioned that are in office, or even the politicians that were running for office, where are you? Mm-hmm. I don't see you. I don't hear you. They don't hear you. They don't see you. I think we need to really check those individuals that have run or are running or are in office. They've been vacant. They've been silent, and it's not okay. And to your point, you need to remember their names, and you need to let them know what you think about them. You put them in office, those that are in office, and those that are running for office want you to put them in office, but where are they? They haven't shown up. They're not in this fight. They're not in this battle. They're not being vocal. Remember that. So I would just encourage everybody to stay abreast as to what we're doing. This idea of ours was just conceived a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. We've just scratched the surface on where we're going, what we're going to do, and how we're going to innovate and create. So stay connected with us, stay involved, and look out. Like I said, we're gonna start wielding the sword now. It's no longer, we cannot just take a defensive posture. We are here during this time intentionally. You know, we're here for such a time as this. These are the people that got elected to fight this fight. You have a role to play. I have a role to play. I know what my role is. I'm operating in the fullness of my role. Find out what your role is. Get involved. Reach out to us. Get connected. But don't just sit idle. And I've always said this. I say this a lot. God's not going to hold us accountable just for the things we did in life. We're not just going to stand before our Creator and give an account for our sins, the things we've done in life. We're also going to give an account for the things we did not do. Don't let this topic, this subject, be one of those things that you're held accountable for. Why did you know that this was happening? Why did you see this happening and did nothing about it? So don't let this be one of the things that you stand before your Creator and have to give an account for. Be involved. You've been exposed to it. You're now accountable for it. So we hope to hear from all of you.
Well, this was so powerful. I'm so thankful for Bree that you joined us. Tyler finally got that call. So he left, but I'm so thankful for Tyler and just for the many, many heroes up and down our state and throughout our country. And I really hope that this power hour kind of created a ripple effect of awakening for, even if for people who haven't been forthright with saying anything against this. I say often that if you are not actively speaking against the deconstruction of our society in real time, then you are complicit. There is no other place to stand. You are complicit, or you're actively fighting against what we know is so wrong and will be recorded as being on the wrong side of history. So Anthony, I wholeheartedly support your project that you have worked sleepless days and nights on. And obviously, you know, we will continue to profile what you are doing and how people can get involved. Can you tell people one more time how they can find your Heroes Project to send in stories and pictures? Oh, and one question, people wanted to know if they could send in their picture, military and law enforcement, backwards so that their faces wouldn't be seen. Is that something that they can do?
Absolutely. However you feel comfortable to tell your story, we'll accept it. And if you want to tell your story and you want some anonymity, we'll honor that, of course. What's most important is your story. So you can visit us at wearestillheroes.org or our Instagram handle, wearestillheroes. So connect with us, respond to us, leave us your information. And if you have a story to tell, we'll get it out there.
All right. Thank you guys so much again. Anthony, thank you for doing the good work, for being on the right side of history. And Bree and Tyler, thank you both so much for spending the time with us. And then to everyone watching and listening, now is the time to step in. There's no more middle ground. So I hope this was encouraging. If it was, please share it. Please get this story out and support what Anthony is doing with this awesome wearestillheroes.org.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.